Have you ever sat by the window, coffee in hand, watching the world pass by and felt this quiet emptiness settle into your chest? You might be surrounded by the ticking of clocks, the chirping of birds outside, or even the hum of the television in the background, but inside, there's a silence that no sound can fill. It's not about being alone, it's about feeling lonely. Especially after 70, when life slows down, routines change, and people you once saw every day are now faces you see only in photographs or memories. But what if I told you that this loneliness doesn't have to define your golden years? That 5 small, simple rituals, done daily, can completely transform how you feel inside, bringing joy, meaning, and even peace back into your life. These are not just habits. They're lifelines, gently pulling you out of isolation and back into connection with yourself and with the world around you. Let's begin with a story. In a quiet town outside Wisconsin, lived a woman named Eleanor. She was 78, recently widowed, and her children had moved out long ago. Her days were painfully quiet. She missed the chatter at breakfast, the spontaneous laughter in the evenings, and even the little disagreements over what to watch on TV. The silence was the hardest part. But something changed when her neighbor, Margaret, an 82-year-old with a sparkle in her eye and endless curiosity, invited her to join her for morning tea in the garden. No pressure. Just tea, every morning at 8:30. That simple gesture became Eleanor's anchor. It wasn't just about the tea. It was the act of preparing for something, looking forward to someone, being seen. That daily ritual became her first step out of loneliness. And that brings us to our first ritual. Start every morning with a meaningful connection. Whether it's calling an old friend, writing a note to a grandchild, or even exchanging a kind word with the mailman, begin your day with human warmth. Studies from the Journal of Gerontology show that seniors, who have at least one positive social interaction each morning, report 34% lower levels of loneliness and 21% higher life satisfaction. Don't wait for people to reach out. Be the one to say good morning. You might be surprised how deeply that energy flows back to you. Now let me tell you about Charles, a 74-year-old retired teacher living in Portland. After his wife passed, he barely left the house. He'd wake up late, sit in front of the TV, and sometimes go days without speaking to another person. His daughter noticed he was slipping into depression. Then, on a whim, she signed him up for a virtual painting class. Just try it once, she told him. Charles rolled his eyes but agreed. Something incredible happened. Not only did he enjoy it, he became the star of the class. His stories, his humor, the way he painted memories from his youth, it all came alive. That weekly activity became a daily habit. He started painting every morning, sharing photos of his work in an online group, even receiving praise from strangers. That's our second ritual. Create something every day, no matter how small. It can be a poem, a drawing, a meal you cook just for yourself. Creativity awakens purpose. It reminds you that you still have something beautiful to offer. According to Psychology and Aging, creative expression in seniors is linked to increased cognitive health and a 45% reduction in feelings of social isolation. When your hands are busy, your mind and heart come alive again. Remember, you don't have to be Picasso. You just have to begin. The third ritual is deeply personal, but perhaps the most transformative. Take a gratitude walk. I want you to picture this, a 10-minute stroll, not for exercise, not to reach a destination, but simply to notice what's good. The warmth of sunlight on your shoulder. The rustling of leaves. A flower blooming through a crack in the sidewalk. Each step, whisper to yourself one thing you're thankful for. That's what Maria does. She's 81, living alone in upstate New York. Every morning, she walks the same path. And every day, she finds something new to appreciate. I walk with my memories, she says. With my joys. And even with my sorrows, but I always return home lighter. Gratitude physically changes the brain. A study by UC Berkeley found that seniors who practiced daily gratitude had stronger neural activity in areas linked to emotional regulation and resilience. Your walk becomes a prayer. A whisper to the world that says, I'm still here. And I'm still grateful. Are you feeling the shift already? You see, loneliness is not always about having no one around. It's about not feeling connected to others, to purpose, to yourself. And here's where our fourth ritual comes in. Write one page to yourself every evening. Before bed, sit down with a pen. Don't worry about grammar or spelling. Just write. Maybe it's how your day went. Or what you wished you could say to someone you miss. Or simply, I made it through another day. This is not a diary. It's a mirror for your soul. Elderly wisdom tells us that the people who age with peace are the ones who learn to listen to themselves. Writing helps you do that. There's a man named Roger, 79, who's been doing this for 12 years. He told us, it keeps me from forgetting who I am. And it reminds me that I still have stories worth telling. Don't let your thoughts fade into silence. Give them space. Give them voice. And now, the fifth ritual. The one that truly changes everything. End every day with a kindness towards someone else. That could mean calling an old neighbor just to check in. Sending a small message of encouragement to someone you know is struggling. Or even smiling at the evening nurse and saying, thank you for today. Acts of kindness activate the reward centers in your brain. They give you a surge of warmth, purpose, and connection, even when life feels heavy. Elderly reflections often reveal that the happiest seniors are not those with the most company, but those who give the most love. Loneliness begins to dissolve the moment you shift your attention from what I'm missing to what I can give. So, if you're still watching this video, pause for a moment. Think of someone you could reach out to today. Just one person. One word of kindness. That might be the beginning of a brand new connection, not just for them, but for you too. Because life after 70 is not the end of connection, it's the beginning of a deeper one. One rooted in presence, meaning, and love. Now I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Leave a comment below. And if this message touched something in your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel Elderly Reflections, and share it with someone who might need it today. Your support helps us continue sharing senior health wisdom, life lessons from the elderly, and motivational stories that inspire and heal. Remember this. You are not alone. Not now, not ever. Let these 5 daily rituals become your quiet rebellion against loneliness. Let them be your lighthouse. Let's pause for a moment and go back to Eleanor, the 78-year-old widow from Wisconsin, who started every morning with a cup of tea in her garden, alongside her neighbor Margaret. What began as a small gesture turned into a lifeline, transforming her quiet sorrow into gentle connection. But it didn't stop there. Eleanor did something else that surprised even her own children. She bought a little notebook and titled it, Today, I Matter. Every night before bed, she wrote just a few lines about something she did that day. A moment she smiled. A bird she saw. A memory that drifted in while washing the dishes. Sometimes, the pages were joyful. Other times, they were filled with longing. But every page was a reminder. She was still living. That's the power of daily rituals. Let's revisit that fourth ritual, writing one page to yourself each evening. There's something sacred in it. You're not writing to impress anyone. You're not trying to be poetic or wise. You're simply meeting yourself on the page. And that act alone, of witnessing your own thoughts, your joys, your fears, becomes a kind of healing. Roger, the 79-year-old veteran we mentioned earlier, once wrote, "This journal is my best friend. It listens without judgment. And every time I close the book, I feel like I've emptied a little weight from my chest." Researchers at the University of Rochester found that journaling even just 10 minutes a day can significantly reduce symptoms of anxiety, loneliness, and depression in seniors. It helps bring clarity. It turns a confusing tangle of emotions into something you can understand, and then gently release. So, tonight, try it. Write down something simple. Not about what's missing, but about what remains. Now let's return to the fifth ritual, ending the day with kindness. A soft-spoken man named Isaac, 84, living in a senior community in Ontario, made it a rule that every day, he would make one person smile. It didn't matter how. A compliment, a funny story, a shared cookie. It keeps my heart young, he said. And there's two. What's fascinating is that science backs this up. A Harvard study on aging and happiness found that seniors who perform small daily acts of kindness experience a 23% increase in emotional well-being and a marked improvement in sleep and energy levels. But perhaps more powerful than the numbers is what this kindness gives to your spirit. Because when you light someone else's path, even with the tiniest flame, your own path glows a little brighter too. So here's a gentle question for you. Who will you be kind to today? It could be a friend you haven't spoken to in years. Or the nurse who changes your bed sheets. Or the neighbor who always walks alone. Even a handwritten note or a smile shared in the hallway can become someone's brightest moment of the day. And if you're wondering whether it's enough to just do that, let me tell you, it absolutely is. Let's go deeper now, because loneliness after 70 often isn't about being alone. Sometimes it's about the memories that linger, the dreams you quietly let go of, or the loved ones who are no longer here. It's the empty seat at the dinner table. The quiet birthday. The missing laugh. But I want to remind you, those memories aren't gone. They live inside you, and honoring them can be one of the most beautiful rituals of all. Take Edna, a 76-year-old grandmother in Glasgow. Every Sunday, she writes a letter to her late husband John. She tells him about her week, the meals she tried cooking, the moments she missed his advice. She folds the letter and places it in a small box. It makes me feel close to him, she says. Like he's still part of my life, even if he's not sitting beside me. That's the heart of what these rituals are about, not denying the past, but weaving it gently into the present, so you're never truly alone. And here's something that may surprise you. Doing these rituals not only helps your mental health, it can also improve your physical health. Studies published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry show that seniors who engage in daily emotional and social rituals, like gratitude walks, creative hobbies, and writing, experience lower levels of inflammation, reduced risk of heart disease, and improved cognitive function. Why? Because when the heart feels connected, the body follows. Loneliness is not just a feeling, it's a signal. A call to return to what makes us feel alive. Now I want to bring you back to Charles, our retired teacher from Portland. Remember how a single virtual art class reignited his purpose? Well, something magical happened. One of his paintings, a soft watercolor of an old oak tree, was shared in a local art fair. People loved it. He even sold his first piece. But more than the money, it was the feeling. He mattered again. That's the secret. Loneliness tells you that you no longer matter. But these daily rituals, they whisper back. Oh, but you do. So if your days have felt a bit too quiet lately, if you've stared at the phone wondering if anyone will call, if you've felt that heavy stillness settle into your chest, know this. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not too old to feel alive again. Take that first walk. Write that one page. Call that one person. Smile at that one nurse. And then tomorrow, do it again. Let these small moments become your rhythm. Your melody. Your return to yourself. And if you've made it this far, I want to ask you again. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below. I truly want to know. Because this channel, Elderly Reflections, isn't just about videos. It's a gathering place for the wisdom, resilience, and beauty of seniors like you from around the world. If this message spoke to your heart, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need these words today. Together, let's rewrite what it means to grow old. Let's make space for senior health, elderly wisdom, daily inspiration, and those beautiful life lessons that only come with time. As we bring these reflections together, I want you to take a deep breath. Let it settle. Let everything we've talked about so far, the tea in the garden, the quiet journal pages, the kind smile to a stranger, sink into your spirit. Because what we're really doing here is building a life again. Not the life you had before, but a new one. A slower, wiser, softer one. One that still has laughter. That still holds purpose. That still belongs to you. Loneliness after 70 is real. But it isn't permanent. You've already seen how 5 small rituals, done with intention, can gently guide you out of that empty space and into something richer. Something fuller. Something that feels like living again. And now, let's walk one last path together, the part where we put it all into motion. You might be wondering, can something this small really make a difference? Let me tell you about Glenn, an 86-year-old widower in San Diego. After his wife passed, he stopped going out. He let the garden grow wild. He stopped opening his mail. Most days, he sat in his recliner with the television on but wasn't really watching. Then one morning, a letter arrived. It was from a boy named Lucas, a 10-year-old from the neighborhood, asking Glenn if he could interview him for a school project called Elderly Wisdom. At first, Glenn ignored it. But a few days later, the boy showed up again, this time with his mom, holding a pie and a notepad. That pie changed everything. Glenn shared stories from the 1950s, lessons from his time in the Navy, and the love story of how he met his wife. Lucas listened with wide eyes and wrote every word down. The next day, Glenn shaved, watered the plants, sat outside, waiting for Lucas to return. That, my friend, is the 6th quiet truth we often forget. Your story still matters. Your life. Your experiences. Your voice. They are treasures. There is a young person somewhere who needs to hear what you've lived through. Who needs the quotes, the wisdom, the life lessons you carry quietly in your heart. So maybe one of your new daily rituals is this. Share one story. Write it down. Record it. Tell it over the phone. Give the world a piece of what you've seen. Because when you do, you remind yourself, and others, that you are still part of this beautiful, unfolding human story. Let's take it further. What if you created a ritual of legacy? Eleanor, remember her? The tea in the garden lady from Wisconsin? She now writes letters to my granddaughter. Even though her granddaughter lives in another state. Every week, she sends one. Not advice, not lectures, just reflections. Elderly reflections, as she calls them. A little memory. A little thought. A quote that helped her once. Her granddaughter keeps them in a box. She reads them before exams. Before dates. Before big decisions. That quiet exchange between generations has become a bridge, a connection across time. You don't have to change the world to matter. You just have to show up in it. Fully. Honestly. With your heart open. And if you're still with me right now, I know something about you. You're ready. Not for a complete life overhaul. Not for massive goals or impossible routines. But for tiny, powerful moments that add up to a life you love living again. So let me gently remind you, one more time. Start your morning with connection. Create something, anything, every day. Take a gratitude walk. Write one page to yourself. Give one act of kindness. And most of all, share your story. Even when no one's listening yet. Even if your hands shake a little when you write. Even if your voice cracks with emotion. Share it anyway. Because we need you. This community, this channel, Elderly Reflections, is not about numbers. It's about you. About making sure no senior is left behind. No story untold. No wisdom wasted. So as you go into tomorrow, pick one of these rituals and begin. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. And if you're ready to be part of this journey with us, I'd love for you to do 2 things right now. Drop a comment below and tell us, where are you watching from? What's one ritual you'll try first? And please, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. your support isn't just about growing a channel. It's about helping us spread light, connection, and inspiration to seniors around the world who feel forgotten. Together, let's bring back the joy. Let's revive the strength. Let's honor the stories. Here's to your next chapter being the most peaceful, meaningful one yet. You're not alone anymore. We see you. We hear you. And we're walking this path with you. See you in the next video.